Let me tell you about a feeling. I think you know it. You open your brokerage app, and there it is. The monthly dividend from JEPI just landed. You've got $500,000 in the fund, so that check, about $4,000, just showed up. Real money. Money that pays the property tax, covers the cruise, takes a little weight off Social Security, and for 1 second, you feel like the smartest person on the block. You found the fund that pays 9.78%. Your neighbor's plain index fund pays him almost nothing in dividends. You won. Then one afternoon, you do something you probably shouldn't have. You pull up a chart. You put JEPI right next to the plain old S&P 500. And your stomach drops. Because the line you thought was winning is the line at the bottom. You're getting paid the most. And you're losing. But wait, does that even make sense? That's the question that brought you here, so let's answer it. Here's what we're doing for the next 15 minutes. I'm not going to tell you JPPI is a scam. It isn't. I'm not going to tell you to sell everything tomorrow morning. And I'm not going to bury you in jargon, because the people who hide behind jargon are usually hoping you won't ask the next question. What I'm going to do is take that confused, uncomfortable feeling, the one where the numbers seem to fight each other, and make it make sense. By the end, you'll know exactly how a fund can pay you the biggest check on the street and still leave you with less money than your neighbor. And you'll know whether that's a problem for you, or whether it's actually fine, because it's not the same answer for everyone. And anyone who tells you it is, they're selling something. Let me be fair to JEPI for a minute. It earned the love. It's the biggest covered call fund in the world, around $44.5 billion. And this year alone, people poured in another $4 billion or so. That's not an accident. People love it for a reason. Honestly, the first time I understood how it worked, I loved it too. I was sitting at my kitchen table. The same table where I'd lost a little sleep over money more than once. And the idea of a check just showing up every month like a paycheck, but no job to go to, hit me right in the chest. If you'd ever lain awake doing the math, wondering whether your money lasts, you know the feeling. That comfort is worth something. Don't let anyone make you feel silly for wanting it. So what does JEPI actually do? It owns a basket of calm, steady American companies. Fine so far. Then it does one extra thing. It sells covered calls on the S&P 500. It collects a premium for doing that, like collecting rent. And it hands most of that rent to you. Every month, that's your dividend. That's where the big yield comes from. No magic. Just rent. And stay with me here. That exact same thing is the reason you're losing to the index. Here's the number. Take a breath, because it's a big one. The last 12 months, JEPI returned about 8.7%. Total. Dividends included, everything in, 8.7. The S&P 500 over those same 12 months, about 30%. Let me get that off the screen and onto your kitchen table, because that's where this actually lives. Same $500,000. In JEPI, 8.7% is about $43,500 a gain. In the plain index, 30% is about $150,000. That gap, over $100,000 in a single year. Same starting pile. And I know what some of you are doing right now. You're thinking, sure, but that was one crazy year. The market went nuts. Fair. But here's the part one really need you to hear. This gap is not a glitch. It is not bad luck. It is built in. JEPI did exactly what it was engineered to do. The problem was never GPPI. The problem was the ruler you were measuring it with. Stick with me, because once you see the mechanism, you are done being confused by this. Forever. Remember the rent? The covered calls? Here's the part nobody puts in the comments. When JEPI sells a call, it makes a quiet promise. It promises to give away the upside above a certain price. Let me make that real. Say the market jumps 8% in a month. Great, right? But JEPI sold calls at 2% above the price. So JEPP is the first 2%. Everything above that, the other 6, goes to whoever bought the option. Dawn. An 8% month. JEPI caught 2. That's the whole story. In exchange for that lovely monthly check, JEPI agrees to sit out the big up moves. In a flat market or a slow grind down, that's a smart trade. You collect rent while everyone else collects nothing. But in a screaming bull market, the kind we've been living through, you're renting out the one thing that was going to make you rich. You watch the market run, and you stand there holding your rent check. So the fat yield and the weak return are not two separate facts. They are one fact, wearing 2 different outfits. The yield is the rent. The lagging return is the upside you sold to get the rent. You cannot have one without the other. That's it. That's the whole thing. Read that twice if you have to. There are 2 more pieces. And these are the ones that make people mad when they find out late. Taxes first. The income from those option structures? Mostly taxed as ordinary income, not the friendly qualified dividend rate the plain index fund often gets. Ordinary income, the same bucket as your old paycheck. So if you're holding JEPI in a regular taxable account, the government is taking a quiet bite you probably didn't count on. The yield looks great. The tax bill doesn't. That's why a lot of careful people keep these funds inside an IRA or a 401k. Different room of the house. No yearly bite. I knew a guy once. Retired engineer. JARP as a tack. He built this beautiful income stream with funds like this, all of it sitting in his regular brokerage account. He was thrilled with the monthly checks. Spent them too. And then April showed up. The tax bill was a number he did not see coming on money he'd already spent. He wasn't wrong to want income. He just kept it in the wrong room. One conversation years earlier, and he'd have saved himself a small fortune. That's the kind of thing that keeps me making these videos. Now the other side of the coin. JEPI moves softer than the market. It has a beta of about 0.58. Plain English? When the market drops hard, JEPI usually drops softer. That's the consolation prize for handing over the upside. And it's a real one. For the person who panics and sells at the bottom, a calmer ride is worth a lot. Sometimes the best fund is just the one that keeps you in your seat. Now here's where I lose the folks who came to watch me trash JEPI. Because I'm not going to. JEP isn't broken. Let me say that plainly. JEPI is a tool, and a tool isn't good or bad. It's right or wrong for the job in your hand. You wouldn't get angry at a hammer for being a lousy screwdriver. JEPI is a hammer, an income hammer. And it is superb at one job, turning a pile of money into a steady monthly stream with a calmer ride than the market gives you. If that's the job you actually need done, it's one of the finest hammers ever built. The mistake, the whole reason for that sinking feeling back at the start of this video, is that you picked up an income hammer and then got upset it wasn't growing your wealth like a growth tool. You measured an income fund against a growth fund. And you felt betrayed when they didn't match. They were never supposed to match. They were never even in the same race. So the question isn't, is JEPI losing? The question is, what is your money even for? Here's the frame I want you to carry out of here. There are really 2 seasons of money. There's the building season. You're still working. You don't need the money yet. Your one job is to let it grow as big as it possibly can. In that season, trading away the market's upside for a monthly check is, honestly, usually a mistake. Time is on your side. You want growth, and then there's the living season. The paychecks have stopped. Now you want one thing above all, predictability. Money that shows up on a schedule, so you're never forced to sell shares in a scary month just to buy groceries. In that season, a fund that pays you to stay calm, even if it gives up some upside, can be exactly the right tool. The people I worry about aren't the ones who own JEPI. They're the ones who own only JEPP. Wrong season. No growth anywhere in the picture. Quietly falling $100,000 behind a year, and never quite understanding why the magic check isn't making them richer. They did everything they were told. Nobody told them the second half of the story. Well, you got the second half now, and that alone puts you ahead of most people scrolling past this video. So maybe the answer isn't all JEPI or no JEPI. Maybe it's a slice of income and a slice of growth, sized for the season you're actually in. Boring, balanced, and quietly, the thing that lets you sleep at night and not fall behind. Let me bring this all the way home. You're not crazy. The numbers really did fight each other. JEPI really does pay you the biggest check on the block. And it really has fallen way behind the plain index this past year. Both of those are true. And now you know why. The yield is rent. The weak return is the upside you sold to collect it. Same fact, 2 outfits. JEPI is not a scam. It is not broken. It's an income tool, magnificent at its one job, and wrong for a job it was never built to do. Your only real task is to be honest about which season you're in, and to stop grading a hammer on how well it turns a screw. If this cleared something up for you, do me one small favor. Drop a comment and tell me which season you're in right now. The building season or the living season. I read them. They shape what I make next. And if you want me to break down JEPI's 3 biggest rivals and which one actually lets you keep more of your money, that video is coming. So hit subscribe. Take care of yourself. And take care of that nest egg. You work too hard for it to be confused by it. This is not financial advice. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Consult a licensed financial advisor before making investment decisions.